welcome back to an episode of my mom's recipe box. It's fall here and the weather has finally started to cool off, which means we are thinking about all sorts of things, apple and pumpkin and Thanksgiving, and it's getting to be an exciting time to be in the kitchen baking. Okay, so my mom was very active in her church, and that was Trinity United Christian Church, UCC, United Church of Christ, I'm sorry. Anyway, she and my dad were very active in the church, and the church was always having fundraisers. They had bake sales, they had spaghetti night, they had bazaars. They had all sorts of things that they did to come together and earn money for the church. And one of my mom's favorite events was the holiday bazaar that the church had every November. It was usually like early November. So in the weeks that led up to that, there was a lot of baking going on at my mom's house. A lot of pies, a lot of dumplings, and a lot of cakes. So this recipe that I'm going to show you today is for an apple cider cake. And actually the recipe that I'm going to use today is one that my friend Laurel gave me, and I'm going to add a couple of modifications, and it's a really easy cake. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. I know you guys are impressed that I remember to preheat the oven. I'm impressed with myself, actually. Okay, so the oven's preheating, and then when we get started on the cake, we're going to come over to the KitchenAid and we're going to mix everything together, okay? Come back. Okay, welcome back. We're getting ready to put our cake together. And I've got my ingredients lined up over here. So the cameraman's going to come over and take a look at the KitchenAid. And this is where we're going to do the magic. So the first thing we're going to need is a box of yellow cake mix. Okay, so that makes it super easy right there. We're just going to dump this in. Okay. And the next thing we're going to put in here is 1 cup of apple cider. Obviously not hard cider, you guys. Just regular apple cider you get at the store. And we're going to pour that in. Okay. And make sure you shake it up before you put it in there. The next thing I'm going to put in is a 1/2 cup of applesauce. Now this is unsweetened applesauce. You can use whatever kind you like. If you want to use the cinnamon applesauce, that would be fine. If you want to use a chunky, that would be fine too. It'd give the cake a nice texture. So whatever you have on hand, that's what you should use. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to put in here is 3 eggs. Now, again, I remind you, when you're putting eggs in a cake, if you have more than 1 egg, actually, if you just have 1 egg, that's fine. Crack your eggs in a bowl first. Okay, the cameraman and I just had a heck of a time getting an eggshell out of this egg mixture. And it was a lot easier to get it out of the egg mixture in here than it would have been to get it out in here. Okay, guys? I'm only doing this for your own good because I love you and I want your cake to come out right. Okay, so we're gonna turn this on low. Just gonna get this stuff incorporated, and then I'm gonna add my eggs. Just a little bit at a time, okay? I don't want to get splashed with raw egg. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to beat this for a little bit, not long. Okay. Okay, and you can see everything's kind of mixed up in there. It's not silky smooth, that's all right. Okay? I'll turn this off so you can hear me. So the next thing I'm going to put in here is the spice and the brown sugar mix, okay? Now, what I have in here is about 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. I also have a really good sized tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And then the other thing I have in here is a couple teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Now, I don't want you guys to think that pumpkin pie spice is only for pumpkin pies. No. Pumpkin pie spice is great this time of year. It's got allspice, it's got mace, it's got ginger, it's got nutmeg in it, and it also has cinnamon in it. And really, you don't have to save this for pie. This is great on It's going to be great in the apple cake. It's great in your butternut squash soup. It's great in a savory dish. It's great in your spice cake, in your gingerbread, in your oatmeal cookies. Really, it's a great thing to have in your kitchen, okay? So I'm going to take this. This is brown sugar, cinnamon, and pumpkin pie spice, and I'm going to dump this in here. And then the next thing I'm going to use is my husband Mark's favorite ingredient, and that is, you know what? Vanilla extract. Use the pure stuff. We buy ours at Costco because we use so much of it. And I almost never measure vanilla. So I'm going to put in like squirt, squirt, squirt. Okay? Maybe 3 teaspoons, maybe more. Okay, then we're going to turn this back on and mix this up. Now I'm going to scrape the sides of the bowl. You can already smell how good this is, and it hasn't even gone anywhere near the oven yet. Okay, so this is a very light, you see this, very wet batter. Okay, see how that goes like that? Okay, so there really wasn't much on the sides there. So let's give it another beat. Okay, so you beat a little bit of air into it. It gets a little tiny bit thicker. And now the next thing we're going to do is put it into a greased bundt pan, okay? Okay, guys, so my paddle has magically disappeared. And I am going to put my cake batter in this bundt pan that has been, that I've put oil in. Solid oil, coconut oil. You can use whatever oil you like. Crisco vegetable shortening would be fine. If you want to use a spray, you can. I personally don't like them very much because I think they make things stickier. But, you know, as my mom would say, you do what you want. Okay, so we're going to scrape the rest of this batter in here. And while I don't recommend trying raw cake batter that has eggs in it, I'm going to tell you, I do it all the time. Nothing bad's ever happened to me. I'm going to keep doing it, but that's just me, okay? Because as a baker, that's like the best part. The best part of making a cake is getting to taste the batter. Okay, so this is going to go in a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes or until you stick a knife or a toothpick in it and it comes out clean. Come on back and we'll go to the next step. Hi everybody, so the cake is out of the oven. It was about 45 minutes in the oven and then about 10 minutes in the pan just to let it cool off a little bit and pull away from the pan so that it could come out, okay? Oh my God, it smells so good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a glaze for the top of the cake. It's a really simple glaze. Let me put this down. And what I have in here in the bowl is a cup of confectioner sugar, okay? And then to that, I'm going to add about, shake this up a little, about a 1/4 cup of apple cider, okay? And I say about because we're gonna really be paying attention to the consistency. So you don't wanna add it all at once because you want to make sure you get the consistency you're looking for of the glaze. And I'm not going to use the whisk attachment for the KitchenAid because I don't need to, okay? So I'm just going to start putting a little bit of my apple cider in here and I'm going to give it a whisk, okay? So I'm looking for something that's thin enough that I can just drizzle over the top of the cake, okay? But not too thick that it's going to be gloppy or more like a frosting. So see, this is a little bit thick. That's not really going to drizzle very well, but I'm getting very close. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit of apple cider. Now you can leave this step off altogether and just have the cake plain. Cake will be delicious, I guarantee. And I'll tell you how I know in a minute. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. That looks pretty good. I'm going to add a drop more. Okay, and that should do it. Okay, so let me put this down. And we're going to whisk this. Okay. That looks very good. Okay. All right, so that's ready. So hopefully you can see me here, cameraman. Put this over here. And just to make it easier to drizzle, I'm going to pour it into this cup. There we go. Okay. Okay. Good job, cameraman. I think that's going to be the best angle. And then off, Ruby. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drizzle this right over the top of the cake, just like so. You want it to fall down the edges. Okay. And it'll go all the way around. And I think that'll be enough. Unless you like a really sweet cake, and then, feel free to go crazy. But the cameraman and I, Mark and I, have been going to Krispy Kreme a lot these last few months to get our free donut. And everything at Krispy Kreme is glazed. So this might be nice to have something that's not glazed. Okay, so come on back in a minute and we will taste this beautiful apple cider cake. Hi everybody, welcome back. It's tasting time. Mm-hmm. So here we have our apple cider cake.
Yum, yum.
With an apple cider glaze, which has soaked into the cake. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be even more moist and delicious than before. So let's dig in.
Dig in.
And while we're digging in, I do have a confession to make.
Confession?
Mm-hmm. First of all, yum.
Yum, yum. It's so good.
This is such a good cake. It's so moist, you guys. It's so delicious.
People can make it in time for Thanksgiving now.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a great
really,
cake.
really good. So, you might have noticed that Mark and I are dressed slightly differently than we were in the previous scene.
And no, we don't change 5 times per shoot. No.
We don't. This is what happened. The first time we made this cake for the channel, everything went really well until it was time to get the cake out of the pan. That was a disaster.
Didn't go well.
And the top of the cake did not come out of the pan.
Refused.
I think my problem was that I didn't use quite enough shortening to grease the pan. And the other problem I had was I let it sit in the bundt pan for a little bit too long. So it didn't come out and I didn't film it. I feel kind of bad, So I'm going to post a picture of the first cake, which looked horrible. Looked nothing like this cake.
But it tasted great. It tasted great, though.
But it was really delicious. So my point is, you guys, don't freak out if you have a little bit of a mishap in the kitchen. If your cake doesn't come out of the pan. If you're making a fancy bundt cake maybe for Thanksgiving, you've got a lot of people coming over, and it doesn't come out of the pan, don't panic. Don't freak out. You can pre-slice it and serve a platter of the nicest looking slices. You can make it into a trifle, which is a big clear glass dish where you can layer cubes of cake, and maybe a little whipped cream, maybe some sliced apples, and some more cubes of cake. It's a beautiful dessert, and it gets a lot of oohs and ahs at your Thanksgiving table. And it's one way to salvage a cake that doesn't come out of the pan. And the other thing you can do is cover it with ice cream or whipped cream or something. Or you can turn it into crumbs and sprinkle it on something. But no matter what happens, you have a delicious homemade cake. It's going to taste great no matter what it looks like. And your guests are going to love it. And if they don't love it, don't invite them back.
Kick them out. No, just kick them out right there.
Or, tell them, I hope you enjoyed this dinner because it's the last one you're having at my house.
Exactly. Last meal. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed our video.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel better now that I've come clean.
Confession.
It's good for the soul. Mm-hmm. That's what they say. Yeah. And speaking of, please give us a like if you liked it. If you like our channel, give us a like, subscribe, and
spread the word.
Spread the word. Yeah, absolutely.
Stay safe.
Yes, stay safe, take good care, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of My Mom's Recipe Box. Bye-bye.
Bye.